Greetings, people of Earth and worlds beyond, and welcome to Spyro Month! All throughout November, I'll be celebrating the upcoming release of the Reignited trilogy by making videos centered around the Spyro universe. To begin, I'm reviving an old series of mine and forming a competitive Pokemon team in the likeness of 6 of my favorite characters from the original trilogy, then putting it to the test in a series of battles. So, how will these action platformer characters fare with turn-based strategy? Let's find out. Spyro, if you couldn't guess, is the main protagonist of this long-standing series. He's a young, wisecracking dragon who, through no fault of his own, somehow always ends up being the only hope to save his friends and brethren. Still, he faces these challenges head-on with a sense of pride and perhaps a little too much optimism. It's a big job to fill, especially for someone not even fully grown. Don't let that fool you though. He may not have all the capabilities of an adult dragon, but Spyro can still hold his own. He attacks enemies by ramming them with his horns or breathing fire onto them, and while he can't quite fly yet, at least not without the help of a little magic, he can still use his wings to glide short distances. Finding a Pokemon representative of this iconic character was tricky. Of course, it had to be a dragon type, but I also wanted all of these choices to bear as much of a physical resemblance to the characters as possible. It took me a while, but eventually I stumbled upon Shiny Kingdra. The color scheme, the wings, aside from the completely opposite habitat and lack of legs, it's like a mirror image. Still, as a water type, Spyro's fire breathing will have some difficulty translating to Kingdra, but I think I did pretty well. I gave him Hidden Power Fire, which, for the record, is Kingdra's only fire-type move, Scald so I could burn the opponent, and Dragon Breath to fit the theme and hopefully get some lucky paralysis. Focus Energy and Sniper round out the moveset to land some nasty critical hits, and since Spyro likes collecting gems so much, why not give him a Dragonium Z? First appearing in Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, Moneybags is a greedy, gem-obsessed Ursine from Avalar who often impedes the progress of our purple protagonist. He serves as a gating mechanism by charging Spyro large amounts of gems in order to access new areas, basically like the balloonists from the first game, but more enjoyably snobbish. This behavior could be considered hateable, but the games make sure to give him just as much crap for his actions as the player would, to the point where I actually look forward to his appearances in each game. I don't know what that says about my financial sense, but for now let's move on. This choice was easier to make than the last. There's only a handful of Pokemon based on bears, and of them, only one has any resemblance to Moneybags. Since Moneybags is so fond of taking Spyro's gems, I decided to center Ursaring's moveset around Covet, which steals the opponent's item. In order to use this effectively, however, I need to give Ursaring a disposable item, so fittingly, I gave him a normal gem, which will increase the power of one normal type move per battle. After using a boosted Frustration, Ursaring will then be free to steal as he pleases. Rounding out the moveset, more for competitive reasons than aesthetic ones, will be Swords Dance and Throat Chop. Hunter is an athletic cheetah from Avalar first appearing in Spyro 2. He's the equivalent of the stereotypical surfer dude mixed with Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. One minute he's a calm, laid-back guy who really knows his way around a skateboard or his trusty bow and arrow. The next minute, he's cowering in fear from the smallest of creatures or allowing himself to be led into an obvious trap. Yeah, he's certainly not the brains of the operation, but his heart's always in the right place. And at the end of the day, he knows who his friends are and what he needs to do to protect them. There is no Pokemon specifically based on the cheetah, so for as close a likeness as I could find, I ended up going with Raikou. In keeping with Hunter's cowardly side, Raiku's main attack will be Volt Switch. I originally also had him tricked out with Zap Cannon, but I quickly discovered that even with a zoom lens, that attack is way too unreliable, especially given Hunter's skill with archery. So instead, I gave him Thunderbolt and Shadow Ball. Also, since he likes flying through the air on his skateboard, I went ahead and gave him Magnet Rise. Fairies are another type of creature native to Spyro's world. In the first game, they mainly served as save points, appearing anytime Spyro freed one of the other dragons. In a couple of levels, they could also power up Spyro's Fire Breath temporarily by encouraging him with a smooch on the snout. In Spyro 2, however, one of these fairies gained a much larger influence in the story. In addition to saving the game, Zoe serves as the game's tutorial master, and when things get rough, she can either use her wand to zap bad guys or help her friends escape from a sticky situation. I could drag out my decision on which Pokemon I chose to represent her, but Ribombee is way too obvious a pick for its own good. Out of all the members of this team, Zoe was the most difficult to create a moveset for. Of course, I had to include Draining Kiss, seeing how Sweet Kiss and Lovely Kiss are not available to her. But beyond that, there aren't any moves that really stood out to me. So, I stuck to the basics. Bug Buzz for damage and Light Screen for support. Also, since Zoe always carries her wand, I decided to give Ribombee her own equivalent with the Stick. Granted, this item provides no immediate benefit to Ribombee, as it only grants an attack bonus when being held by a Farfetch'd, but with the use of Trick, she can pass that useless item off to the opponent in exchange for something much more effective. Bentley is a Yeti who first appeared as a playable character in Spyro 3 Year of the Dragon. He's a simple-minded creature who loves his family and whacking things with his club. After Spyro rescues him from the clutches of the Rhinox, Bentley returns the favor by using his mighty strength to assist Spyro in his quest to recover the Dragon Eggs. There's not much to Bentley's personality, although there doesn't need to be. He's there for some laughs and a few unconscious bad guys, which I think is plenty in this already colorful cast. When finding a representative for Bentley, I had two primary choices. Shiny Abomasnow has by far the best physical resemblance. However, there's a move called Ice Hammer, which would be perfect for his moveset that can only be learned by Crabominable. I debated for a while, but in the end, the compromises with using Abomasnow were a lot more reasonable in my opinion. Although it cannot learn Ice Hammer, Abomasnow does have access to Wood Hammer, which is almost just as good. Plus, since Bentley can still brawl without his weapon, I filled out the moveset with Ice Punch, Brick Break, and Rock Slide. Sergeant James Bird is a penguin character first appearing in Year of the Dragon. Raised by hummingbirds, James always felt the desire to fly. He's a level-headed, smooth-talking warrior, with his dialogue often paying homage to James Bond. He also developed twin rocket launchers, allowing James to defend himself in the air or attack enemies from a distance. And he has a sweet-looking helmet. That's the most important thing. With Empoleon being the only logical choice to represent him, the moveset falls into place fairly easily. In keeping with the theme of Bird's weaponry, Empoleon's main attacking moves will be Hydro Cannon and Flash Cannon. I also wanted to give him at least one flying-type move, the best option for which ended up being Drill Peck. With his role now established as a mixed sweeper, I gave him Aqua Jet to pick off weakened foes. Also, while I doubt this will come into play in battle, a Rocky Helmet completes the ensemble. You can't have Sergeant Bird without his helmet, it would just be wrong. With all that out of the way, our team is ready for battle. Let's head over to Showdown and see how they fare in competition. Haxorus, Celebi, Hippowdon, Gengar, Aerodactyl, Darmanitan. Abomasnow could do quite well against a lot of these things. What would be his lead, though? If I had to guess, I would say either Hippowdon or Aerodactyl. And it's Hippowdon, nice. Boom! Knockout his Hippowdon in one shot. I took out the Stealth Rock threat. That's huge. So I can switch out of Aerodactyl into something else. Earthquake? Okay, never mind. 46%, decent. Sergeant James Bird faints, but that Aerodactyl is almost gone. Do a little Ice Punch. What? Okay. I thought that being faster than Sergeant... Oh, because I used Aqua Jet, that's why. I am an idiot, doo-dah, doo-dah. Look, I am an idiot, all the doo-dah day. Celebi could come out and resist this Scald. But I think I'm gonna risk it. Yep, Celebi came out, of course. I don't really have anything else for that Darmanitan, so I'm actually just gonna switch over to Zoe. Let's switch over to Moneybags, who can Throat Chop this dude. Take him down. Okay, we're down to 3. Nice. We have something that's super effective against all of them. Nice. Doubt I'm faster than it, so Moneybags isn't going to be of much use for the rest of this battle, so might as well go for a frustration. Switch over to Spyro. Okay, that's bad. So that might have been the battle right there. Oh, it's pure fire. I thought it was firefighting. Dang. Oh, it must have a choice item. It's That's fantastic. Bug Buzz this Celebi. One-shot it. Nice! Except that now he can use Flare Blitz, which is not great. Let's just go ahead and trick this stick onto him. Get rid of that choice item. Choice band, so he's doing less damage. But it's still enough to take out both members of the rest of my team. Unless Bentley is somehow faster, which I doubt. And that's the ball game. Well, that was a fun battle. I thought I might have had him on the ropes. Unfortunately, I forgot that I'm me, so on to game 2. Arcanine, Houndoom, Mightyena, Crobat, Starmie, and Sceptile. You're doubled up on dark types and doubled up on fire types. I think your lead might be that Mightyena, actually. Nope, completely wrong. Oh well. Dragon does not resist bugs, so Bug Buzz is still a good option. 87%, nice. Okay, you're just gonna let the Sceptile die? Fine. Here comes Crobat. Had a funny feeling that was coming. You got a Sash, okay. Nasty Plot, okay. I'm actually faster than you, which surprises me. And okay. He's down 2 party members. I've put myself in a good position. I removed the 2 things that I was most concerned about on his team. Toxic Orb, which means he must have Quick Feet, which means he's going to be faster this turn. He was already faster than me, so that's not a huge deal. Hydro Cannon again. Go for it this time. Rocky Helmet is nice. Hey, it actually came into play! I highly doubted that, but it actually came into play. Good job, Sergeant James. You were prepared for anything. I still have all my team intact, which is really cool. Okay, now do I go for a Wood Hammer to take the KO on this Starmie, or do I go for a Rock Slide in the preemptive of him switching out to one of his fire types? I'm gonna try the Rock Slide. And of course, I was wrong. Now we'll do Wood Hammer. At least finish off the Starmie. I'm just gonna leave Bentley in to perish. I could try to go for the 6-0, but I'd rather just secure my win, because Lord knows I've screwed this up several times in the past. Dragon Pulse, okay, fair enough. Now we can switch to Sergeant James, who will resist the Dragon Pulse, and be able to finish it off with an Aqua Jet. Bada bing, bada boom! I am going to do a Hydro Cannon, because I feel like that's how Sergeant... Well, never mind. So he's going to fall to Fire Blast, but I'm okay with that. Fire Blast missed, which is very fortunate for me. And alrighty, that'll do it! That's our first win of the day with this new team. And we've got one more coming at you. We've got 2 Steel types, 2 Fighting types. My 2 Water types will get quite a bit of mileage in. His lead, if I had to guess, would be the Rotom Heat. In which case I'll lead with Spyro. Nope, I was wrong, but that might work out for me anyway. I could switch to Sergeant James and kill this thing in one hit with Drill Peck, but he might kill me first. I should probably go with Zoe. Bug Buzz this thing. Ah, didn't quite get him. Draining Kiss, finish it off. Hunter might be the best choice. Yeah, I'm doing just fine. I can Thunderbolt. And Lucario's down. Alrighty, so we can't stay in with Nidoking. So we'll have to switch to Sergeant James. That was very fortunate. His last thing that can really hurt my water types is Primarina, so I'm gonna guess he's gonna switch into that, in which case, never mind. That just goes to show me, anytime I try to strategize in this game, it always backfires. Let's go for a Scald. Thankfully, we survived the attack, so the Nidoking is down. Bentley is probably the best choice. Oh my, okay. Just go for another Brick Break, I guess. I got a critical hit, which is nice. Stealth Rock, okay, give me more chances to hit you, fine by me. Down to less than half health now. Fire Punch finished me off, okay. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Come on, Moneybags! Throat chop him into submission. I know I'm slower. There's nothing I can do in this particular scenario. Go for a Thunderbolt. He'll probably switch. Okay, no, he didn't. Okay, fair enough. decent damage. Hunter's down, which isn't great. Zoe, you're the last hope! I can give this Primarina whatever item it is. I got a Leftovers, which is fantastic. Draining Kiss, Draining Kiss, Draining Kiss. Damn it. Of course you get a critical hit. The second I think I have a chance. That's 2-1, but as I was practicing with this team and building it up, I did engage in one battle that I thought was particularly exciting. It won't be live, but I'll give a brief commentary over it, just to show you how this team is supposed to work. So he leads off with an Azelf, I lead off with a Zoe, which is very fortunate. I'm able to take it down to almost all the way down in terms of health right away. No questions asked. And we can finish it off with the Draining Kiss. So we get through the first Pokemon with nothing but a taunt, which is very, very fortunate. He switches into Sylveon. I can't do any damage to a fairy type, so I go ahead and switch to Sergeant James Bird, who takes a Shadow Ball, no problem. He predicts that I go for the Flash Cannon, so he switches to Seismitoad. Very well played. And at this point, I just think, Sergeant James Bird, he's not going to be doing much against the Seismitoad, so I switch to Spyro. Spyro gets poisoned, which is not great, but it is not the best thing, but it is decent because it allows me to still have a few turns of damage that I may not have had he just gone full out attack mode. So I get in a couple of Scalds, I go for a Devastating Drake to try to finish this thing off, and it just barely survives. So very lucky on his part. And one more turn of toxic damage will finish off Spyro. So I do not go for another Dragon-type attack, thinking he might switch to Sylveon, which he does, so I go for a Scald instead. Just a safe thing that all of his Pokemon would at least take some damage from. Toxic finishes Spyro off. Now we switch to Sergeant James Bird. This time he does not switch out, which I was not expecting, which is why I went for Hydro Cannon instead of Flash Cannon to finish this Sylveon off. So he gets to bring in Seismitoad, which, during the turn of recharge, gets healed by Wish, which is not at all great for me. Earthquake will finish off Sergeant James Bird. I'm down 4-5 now. We have to finish this Seismitoad off, so in comes Moneybags. Moneybags is going to use Frustration. Even though it'll get poisoned, it'll take this thing down in one hit and be able to move us along to the next part of the battle, not having to deal with that toxic threat. So Moneybags is in. Here comes Sylveon again. This is great for me because I'll get to covet Sylveon's item. I do not know what it is, but it should be something helpful to me. It turns out to be a Choice Scarf, so if Moneybags survives the next turn, it'll be a speedy thing. The only unfortunate thing is that it is locked into covet. Unfortunately, that does not happen because this Manectric turns into a Mega Manectric and discharges me without me being able to take advantage of the Choice Scarf. But now it's 3 versus 3. All 3 members of each team are at full health. I come in with Raikou, go for a Shadow Ball. I get a lucky special defense drop. Just trying to figure out a way around this thing. I didn't bring in a Bomasnow because I was afraid it would have something like Fire Fang or some sort of fire-type attack, because Manectrics often carry those. So I go ahead and switch to Zoe, trying to get something else going. Unfortunately, he switches to Gengar and gets a lucky Hypnosis. I am able to get the light screen up, but Zoe's a sitting duck at this point, especially with this Arcanine on the field, so I decide to just let it sit there and sacrifice it to the Arcanine, get some recoil damage on it, and come back in with this Raikou. At this point, there's very little I think I can do. I can just go for Thunderbolts, but then I get a very extremely lucky Paralysis. I'm so fortunate that happened. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been able to win the battle. Now, Arcanine is slower than me, so it poses significantly less of a threat. Manectric comes in, I'm able to, I didn't finish the Arcanine off like I wanted, which is why I went for Thunderbolt. But now, I go for a Volt Switch into a Boneless No, thinking, okay, I'm basically already dead. If this thing has a Fire-type attack, this will just make it go quicker. But instead, it uses Ice Fang, so it doesn't have a Fire-type attack, which is really, really fortunate for me, because I'm able to finish this thing off with an Ice Punch, and now it's 2 versus 2, although Raikou is very close to death. The Arcanine is slower, so I can finish it off with a Rock Slide before it has a chance to attack. I suppose it could have used Extreme Speed, but it wouldn't have done much. So now it's 2 versus 1 with this Gengar, which, to be fair, is at full health. And I have reduced attack, but the Hypnosis misses. I'm able to get in 1 Ice Punch, doesn't quite do half damage. I fall asleep this turn. If it has any sort of Poison-type attack, which it turns out to not have, I would be done, but it doesn't. I wake up turn 2, get the Ice Punch, and a critical hit. That was an extremely exciting, fun, and investing battle. And yes, I will admit, I got lucky at several points. Paralyzing the Arcanine was huge. I just like to see cool things happen. Props to Sir Eric, whoever or wherever you are. That'll about do it for this segment, so without further ado, here's the recap. So all in all, this team worked out really well. I may have suffered 2 losses, but I always felt like I had a chance, unlike some other teams I've tried on this series. As for what I'd change, there's not much. If I were to bring this team to a tournament, of course, then a few of the more aesthetic moves would probably have to be replaced. Draining Kiss would have to become Moonblast, the stick would likely be ditched in favor of something more useful, and Hydro Cannon would probably go as well. That's about it, though. I'm really happy with how this team turned out, and let's face it, any episode of this series where I actually managed to win a battle is cause for celebration. So, that'll do it for today. Be sure to keep checking in all throughout November for more Spyro-related content, and until next time, take care of yourselves.